Hi, my name is Barbara McPherson, and today we're going to talk about leprosy. We're going to talk about what leprosy is, what causes leprosy, the history of it, um, prevention and treatment of it, and just a few historical facts about it. So let's get started on leprosy. Okay, leprosy is a disease caused by the organism Mycobacterium leprae. Leprosy is a granulomatosis infectious disease that affects the skin, peripheral nerves of the extremities, and mucous membranes of the respiratory tract and the eyes. Leprosy was discovered in 1870 by a physician from Norway named Hansen. The disease is also called Hansen's disease after this man that identified it. A lot of times, people will call it Hansen's disease because leprosy has such a stigmata attached to it. Um, so if you look here on the slide, you can see the taxonomy of leprosy of a Microbacterium leprae. It's in the kingdom Bacteria Monera. The genus Mycobacterium and the species is leprae. And over here to the right, you can see what it looks like inside a cell. These little rod-shaped bacillus that's the leprosy. Okay, the history of leprosy. Leprosy is believed to be one of the oldest diseases in history, dating back to 600 BC. Leprosy in biblical times, people that suffered from leprosy were thought to have been punished by God from their sins. Um, They were called lepers and they were usually quarantined. Well, not usually, they were quarantined in what was called leper colonies. This was done to protect others from the contamination. Um, People ostracized people that had leprosy back in those days. Those people were ostracized. They were put in places and forgot about. Um, Modern and even in modern times, people with this disease are still sent to some colonies, but most of the colonies nowadays they're gone. They're not around anymore. But that's what it was like back in the biblical days, or even after the biblical days. That's what happened to people that had leprosy. Let's see. Let's look at the structure of leprosy. So, leprosy is an obligate intercellular organism. It is curved or straight rod-shaped acid-fast organism. It's a bacillus. It has rounded ends, and the way this leprosy is arranged, it makes the organism unique from other mycobacterium organisms. See how they are in this picture? See how they are kind of banded close together, parallel. They're in parallel chains close together. Um, it's this close formation that forms these little structures called Golgi. Um, the cellular structure of leprosy is a typical gram-positive organism. It contains a cytoplasm, plasma membrane, cell wall, and a capsule. The plasma membrane consists of lipid bilayers with proteins and surface antigens, and the cell wall contains a thick layer of peptidoglycan, just like all gram-positive organisms. So this picture here shows you the organism M. leprae. It shows you what it looks like underneath a microscope. Okay. Um, the mode of transmission for leprosy is that it will enter the body through the respiratory tract. Usually, when a person coughs or sneezes, and another person will inhale these droplets. The organism is not considered to be highly contagious unless you come in contact with an affected individual for a prolonged period of time. If you just like run into somebody that has leprosy and you're away from them real quick, like chances of you getting leprosy, contracting leprosy are slim to none. You have to really spend some time with this individual and be around them when they are in these stages where they are where they're contagious. Um, Here it shows you in this slide, it shows you that airborne transmission through inhalation of the bacillus, direct contact with leprosy patient who've shed numerous bacillus from damaged skin or nasal secretions or mucous membrane of the mouth or hair follicles. Also, um, leprosy is can be transmitted from the mother to the child through this placenta, and it also can be transmitted from the milk to the mother during breastfeeding. So it has several different modes of being contagious. Okay, another route of transmission is through armadillos, uh, um, specifically the nine-banded armadillo, which is the species Dasypus novemcenticus. They're known to be carriers of the M. leprae organism. Studies have found that DNA from this armadillo is the same strain of leprosy that's found in humans. You can't really see this picture real well, but it's just kind of showing you, the link between armadillo and man. And kind of here in these southern states is where there's been incidences of humans contracting leprosy from armadillos. Okay, the pathogenesis of this disease, as stated in the previous slide, the organism will enter the body through the respiratory tract. But once it's inside the body, the bacterium will travel to neural tissues and bind to the Schwann cells of the nerves. The binding of the Schwann cells will cause demyelination, which is when the cells lose their protective myelin sheath around the nerve. So when they have lost that protection, that will cause nerve damage. And this is a typical symptom of leprosy. Also, the bacteria, you will find the bacterium in macrophages, muscle cells, and endothelial cells. However, since M. leprae is a slow-growing organism, it will take a long time before any of the signs and symptoms begin to occur. Some reports and studies say that it can take up to 20 years for these signs and symptoms to manifest themselves. As any other sign of infection, the body's natural immune system will kick in and try to get rid of the foreign organism. So individuals that have a strong immune system, they will fight off the infection with ease and may or may not show any signs whatsoever or symptoms. But a person that has a compromised immune system, the organism will spread and cause serious damage to the body. This picture here is just showing you the nerve cell here with the Schwann cells, and just telling you where the pathogenesis of it is at is just what basically I kind of said there. But that's where it does a lot of the damage at, is the integumentary system, the skin, and then, of course, there's hair and nails as well, but it doesn't do as much damage to that. But it will do damage to the skin, and it will do damage to the nerves. So those are the two places where there's a lot of damage done to the nerves and the integumentary system. There are 6 subdivisions of leprosy. Borderline lepromatosis, borderline tuberculoid, indeterminate lepromatosis, mid-borderline, and tuberculoid. So for the ease of classification and treatment, they have divided leprosy into 2 types, tuberculoid and lepromatosis. So individuals that have tuberculoid leprosy, they have very few flat or raised lesions that range in different sizes and colors. They can be small, they can be big, they can be pale, they can be red. They're usually dry and hairless, and the individual doesn't feel these patches, these lesions. Like when they go to touch it, it feels numb to them. They can't feel that area that that patches in. Now, the World Health Organization, or WHO, has classified this type of leprosy as, and forgive me if I botch this word, but possibacillary. That basically just means there's one or a few skin lesions. Now, individuals with lepromatosis, that this involves a greater number of lesions on the skin, and also you have thickening of the peripheral nerves that can be seen throughout your integument. And I'll show you some pictures of those in just a few minutes, but they're big, huge nodules all over the person. And the WHO classifies this type of leprosy as multibacillary. The borderline types, they have more lesions and nerve damage than the tuberculoid, but they're not near as extensive as the lepromatosis. And then the indeterminate, that stage will occur early on in the diagnosis and consist of a single lesion and very little nerve damage. You won't see hardly any nerve damage in that. And this picture here is just showing you these are possibacillary, and they're telling you that there's intermediate tuberculoid and borderline with 5 or less lesions. And then it's telling you that they're hyperpigmented macules. It's got a picture of one here. And then these are plaques, hyperpigmented plaques, and there's a picture of it there. And these have the hyperpigmented red lesions and the plaques on that. So those are the types of leprosy for just a single deal, this picture. The next picture shows you the multibacillary type. And they're of course they're borderline as well, and borderline leprotosis and borderline lepromatosis. There's 5 or more usually. There's 5 or more lesions. And it's showing you here that the hyperpigmented nodules and red skin on the legs here, on the body here, and on the face. And in a few minutes, I'll show you some more pictures that are up close. You can see those a lot better. But those are the 2 types based on the WHO have broken them down into 2 types of leprosy. The epidemiology of leprosy. So worldwide, the number of new cases of leprosy reported to the World Health Organization in 2019 was approximately around 200,000 cases, with the highest number of cases being in India, Indonesia, and Brazil. However, India has the largest number of cases. And that's what this map is showing you here. It's just showing you the India, Indonesia, and Brazil where the incidences occur. Now, locally in the United States, there's approximately 150 to 250 cases that are reported each year. And in the year 2018, 185 new cases were reported to the National Hansen's Disease Program. That is the organization in the United States that monitors cases of leprosy. These diseases, these cases come from Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, New York, California, Florida, and Hawaii, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. And some of those, like from Texas, because Texas, we have 9-banded armadillos. So there's been a few cases in Texas of leprosy being transmitted from armadillo to man, after they have handled the armadillos, because they are, quite frankly, all over the place around Texas. So, but that's the epidemiology of leprosy. The The treatment and prevention for leprosy, according to White, the regimen of medications are as follows. So patients with PB, that's the paucibacillary, they take a drug called, and again, I apologize if I muck this up, um, rifampin. They take 600 milligrams of rifampin, and dapsone, they take 100 milligrams of that. And they do that once a month for 6 months. Now, if the patient only has one skin patch, then they will take one single dose of what's called ROM, which is a 3-drug combination, and it's rifampin, afloxacin, and minocycline. And that is all that is needed for patients with just one patch. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Goodness. Patients with MB should take the rifampin, 600 milligrams of that. They should also take clofazimine, 300 milligrams of that. They should take that monthly. But on top of that, they should take daily 50 milligrams of clofazimine and 100 milligrams of dapsone. And they will take that daily for 1 year. Leprosy is curable. Okay, it's definitely curable if you catch it in time. So, you can catch it, it's curable. And to prevent it, it's usually just, prevention is usually just by avoiding people that have contact with it. Just kind of stay away from them if you know they have it, and then you won't, catch it. But again, the treatment is it's multi-drug therapy with the drugs that I had listed earlier. And I told you I was going to show you some pictures. Okay, so this one right here at the top left is a picture of an arm and a hand. This has some extensive integument damage here with ulcerations on it, because that's some of the deals. And they can't feel any of this because there's severe nerve damage. Over here, you can see this is on a patient's back. These are neural tissue nodules that have grown up. Same thing here on the face. Just huge nodules all over the place. And this over here is a hand. His hands. Now, the digits you can see look like some of them are gone. They didn't fall off. But what happens when you have leprosy is, if you're at this late stage of leprosy, what happens is the body will reabsorb your digits. As crazy as that sounds, the body reabsorbs it. So even though leprosy is preventable and curable, it leaves devastating and debilitating scars behind. So, if you have it or had it and you have this, or you see somebody with this, be cautious to their plight, and don't make fun of them. They've been made fun of pretty much for centuries because they have this. So, let's be nice about this, because people still, want to make fun of people that have this, and it's not a fun situation. So thank you for watching my presentation. I appreciate it, and have a good day.